Hello, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the number one thing addicts absolutely hate to hear from anybody that's normal. Hey, it's going to be um, it's a statement that usually people always say. It's been going around since there's always been addicts, and basically it's goes something like this. It's goes, can't you just say no? Or let's see, how else would they put that? Can't think right now. But basically, it asks you if we have a choice or not in this matter. And obviously, the answer to that question is yes, we do have a choice in that matter. Now, I can feel every addict that's watching this video right now rolling their eyes and getting ready to turn off the video. But bear with me. There's no one holding a gun to our head, at least not that I know of. And so, yeah, we can't say no. But of course, the question itself is invalid to even ask an addict because, well, it's a mental illness. You don't go around asking people that's depressed and say, hey, you can just choose to not be sad, right? So this question aggravates every addict, and I really think it's just a matter of fact that they don't understand what's going on with them. They don't really, because they've heard this stuff from normal people all their lives, and they think that it's them causing this stuff to them, and it's this stuff up here. It's mental warfare. It's fighting between two personalities in your brain, and one side just wants the drugs all the time. The other side knows better, and the more that you fall in your addiction, the more the bad side wins. And especially when you're in pain. When you're in pain, just like normal people will go to the cabinet and get their Tylenol, we can just go down the street and get our Tylenol. So it's really not a valid question to ask. And I feel like every one of these episodes, I'm going to bring up the fact that this is a mental illness because people don't categorize it as that at all. They know it's a disease, but they don't understand that it's in literally the psychology books, which means that it's a mental illness. And it really aggravates me because we give all this respect to people with anxiety. We give all this respect to people that have depression. We give all this respect to people that are autistic, that have, all these other problems. But yet when it comes to addicts, it's a choice. It's all of a sudden a choice. And the problem with that, the reason why this is happening is because we have doctors that are psychologists and they're, famous psychologists. They'll write a whole book on this crap and say that, well, they could have chose not to do this stuff. And they're right. We can choose to do that. We can choose not to do this stuff. But we have a side of our brain that's telling us that it needs it 24/7. So that's the main problem. And they don't ever, of course, they don't ever say that stuff in the book. They always try to make it out to where it's 100% our fault, and so people need to understand this, and that's why I chose this on my first video, is because it should never really be said to an addict, and no one should really come up to them and say that stuff because an addict needs to have a support group. And if you got everybody that you love coming up to you telling you that, oh, it's your fault, 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 like that, that it's you can't rely on them to be your support group, and you got to have a support group. You got to have somebody that when you're down in the dumps, when you're as low as you can possibly be, you got to have somebody to help you build back up. You got to have people around you to show you that it's possible to be who you are and still be loved for what you are, and so that way you can love yourself, because that's the only way it's ever going to happen. The odds of doing this alone is slim and none, and so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. You don't ever need to say that, and addicts need to understand that it's okay to answer these questions and not snap at them, because most people just don't know no better. They've heard this stuff for the last 50 years, and it's probably never going to go. It's not going to go away tomorrow. Just because I'm making this video, it isn't like it's going to go away. Most likely, later on, I'll probably get comments of people telling me I'm completely wrong. As if me having this disease my entire life has no meaning. So, but I'm telling you that you should try to calm down when somebody tells you this stuff, and just try to tell them exactly what you're going through. You need to tell them that it's a mental disease, that your brain is split into two different personalities, and there's a good personality that knows what you're doing is wrong, and that doesn't want to do it. Matter of fact, I've never met an addict that ever wanted to be an addict. I've not met one. I don't think I ever will, because we wouldn't wish this on the worst enemy. But on the flip side of that, we got the other side of our brain that's telling us that we have to have this stuff. And, answering no is easy when it's a one off, or maybe even 5 times a day, 6 times a day. But when it's 24/7, every trigger that hits you and you got to say no to it, eventually you're going to fail. And that's when you need the people around you to tell you, that you can do this, and if everybody's coming up to you that that's normal saying this stuff, it's never going to happen. You're never going to have those people. And we're so quick to defend ourselves and defend away our things, and because we're shunned everywhere we go, that it's hard for us to get that support group. So I just wanted to make sure I brought this up in the first episode, because it definitely needs to be talked about. It's definitely not right way of thinking. It's not fair to the addict. It's just not a way of thinking and not a way of going. So basically, that's what I want to start out with. And next week, hopefully, I'll go into some more deeper stuff, and we'll see how that goes.